He thought his dog had developed anxiety. He was completely wrong about what was making anyone in that house sick. The house was a 1962 colonial white siding, black shutters. The kind of house that looked solid and permanent and well-maintained from the outside, and revealed its decisions slowly from the inside. Joel and Naomi Flanagan had bought it, knowing the bones were good and the details were negotiable. They had repainted the nursery themselves the spring before their son Theo arrived. A clean, soft white over the existing walls, new trim, everything fresh. They had been careful. They had been thorough. They had felt, finishing that room, the particular satisfaction of people who have done the thing correctly. Patch was a 4-year-old chocolate Labrador, solid and affectionate, and accustomed to sleeping wherever he felt like sleeping, which varied by season and by the quality of the afternoon light. After Theo arrived, Patch had taken up a position outside the nursery door most nights, which everyone interpreted as loyalty, and which Joel found, in those long early weeks, genuinely comforting. The circling started in Theo's 3rd month. At first it was indistinguishable from restlessness. Patch would wake sometime between 2 and 4 in the morning, move from his spot outside the nursery door, circle the crib 2 or 3 times, and then lie down again in a different position. Joel heard it through the baby monitor some nights. He assumed Patch had heard something outside. A raccoon, a neighbor's car, and had done what dogs do when they hear something outside. Investigated. Confirmed. Nothing. Settled. But the circling happened every night. And it was always in the same direction, counterclockwise, always the same circuit, along the same path beside the white crib. And it was always, Naomi noted when she started paying attention, at approximately the same time. The 2 to 3:40 window, when the furnace had been running for 4 or 5 hours. She mentioned this to Joel. He said, "You think the furnace is relevant?" She said, "I don't know. I think the timing is specific." He said, "Dogs have internal clocks." She said, "Not that specific." Week 5 of the behavior. Theo started sleeping fitfully during the nighttime hours. Not dramatically, not the alarming cry that sent you running. Just restlessness, more frequent waking. A quality of sleep that felt lighter than it should. The pediatrician said it was probably a developmental phase. Joel and Naomi nodded. They had done everything right. They had painted the right paint. They had bought the right crib. The room was the right temperature. What else was there to examine? Patch's circling had become a nightly certainty. He no longer settled after the first circuit. He would circle 3 times, stop at the corner of the crib nearest the wall where the vent was, press his nose against the baseboard, and stand there, motionless, nose working. Joel got up one of those nights and stood in the nursery doorway watching him. Patch circling, Theo stirring, the vent in the corner humming with forced warm air from below. And something about the combination of those 3 facts, standing there at 3 in the morning, felt like the beginning of a sentence he couldn't finish. He called an HVAC company the next morning. If you stay for stories about what animals sense before we do, you're in the right place. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. The technician was there within 2 days. He ran a combustion analysis on the furnace. He checked the heat exchanger. He took a reading at the nursery vent. While the system was running, he called Joel into the basement. The heat exchanger had a crack. Small. The kind of crack that under normal conditions would have been caught on an inspection, that this particular previous owner had evidently deferred, and the new buyer inspection had missed, because the crack was on the secondary surface that required the system to be running at operating temperature to reveal itself, The crack was allowing small, continuous amounts of combustion byproduct into the forced air supply. Not enough to trigger the carbon monoxide detector in the hallway, which was calibrated for acute exposure rather than chronic low-level accumulation. Enough to be present in the air of the room where the heated vent ran longest every night. The room with the white crib. The technician said, "How old is the baby?" Joel said, 3 months. The technician said, "How long has the dog been circling?" Joel thought about it. He said, "About 5 weeks." The technician looked at the heat exchanger and did the math. He said, "That's about when the temperatures dropped and the furnace started running at night." Has your dog ever done something that made no sense until it was the only thing that made sense? Tell us in the comments. These stories deserve to be heard. The environmental health inspector came the following week. She tested the air in the nursery, with the system running. She tested the air in the hallway. She tested the air in the master bedroom, which was on the same duct line but further from the vent. She said, quietly, that the levels she was reading were below the threshold for acute danger, but were within the range associated with neurological effects in infants, with prolonged chronic exposure. She said that the clinical literature on this was more developed than most people knew. She said, "Your dog was telling you every night, in the only language available to him, that something was wrong in that corner of that room." The furnace was replaced. The air was retested. The HVAC company returned to verify clean readings throughout the system. Theo's sleep improved within a week. Not dramatically, not all at once. But the way things improve when the thing that was disturbing them is actually gone. Gradually, steadily, convincingly. Every guardian deserves to be recognized, even the ones who never asked for anything in return. If stories like this matter to you, subscribe so you never miss the next one. Patch no longer circles the crib. He sleeps in the hallway outside the nursery door, as he did before all of this. The same loyal, consistent position he had always chosen, because the position made sense to him in a way he could not explain, and did not need to. Naomi thinks about the white paint she chose so carefully, the crib she researched for 3 months, the room she had felt, finishing it, that she had done correctly. She thinks about the sentence Joel couldn't finish at 3 in the morning, watching the dog circle. The dog had already finished it. They just hadn't known how to read the ending. The next story involves a dog who found something inside a new toy that its owners had just brought home. Stay with us.